There's so much misinformation circulating on this good here internet, okay? So you want to make sure you're getting reputable information, tools that are vetted and that you feel secure in making decisions that are based upon. Welcome to Let's Harmonize, the podcast where work-life balance gets an upgrade to work-life harmony. I'm your host, Sonia Sutherland, your HR bestie and trusted guide for creating alignment between your personal and professional life. Join me as we explore practical strategies, inspiring stories, and actionable insights to help you design harmony that's unique to your lifestyle, while also creating a workplace culture that attracts, recruits, and retains top talent. Because when your life and work flow together seamlessly, everyone thrives. So come on, bestie, let's harmonize. Welcome. I'm Sonia, your HR bestie and the host of Let's Harmonize podcast. It's the HR podcast that gives you strategies and insight to move from balance to embracing harmony. Here we are at episode 2, and I'm excited to get into this conversation today. We're going to be talking about navigating a challenging political climate while leading your business or career. Now listen, these last 50 days or so has been, a challenge. We'll just call it that, a challenge. And no matter where you sit on the political landscape, it still feels polarizing. It still feels like there's a lot of tension in the air. And I think this is an opportunity for us as organizations and also just as individuals to really address our feelings, to make sure we're taking care of ourselves while being proactive and putting in the appropriate and proper steps to secure our businesses, secure our plans, secure the things that we want to do to ensure that we're in compliance and all of those things. But I just want to take a moment to just really acknowledge that we are living in the midst of challenging times. We may have a tendency to want to just skip over that or to just act like it's not here or it doesn't exist and just kind of move on with business as usual. But I want us to just take a pause and acknowledge that this is difficult. It's hard, and there's no way around it. This is difficult on the political spectrum if you are in a space where you're feeling unsure about what is next, your future employment, business opportunities, all of those things. But it's also difficult if you are a conservative and you find yourself grappling with where you sit on the spectrum in terms of, what you feel is right and fair versus what you feel is rhetoric and propaganda that's being promoted by the media. It's difficult because we've not necessarily nurtured skills that help us navigate challenging conversations, particularly when we disagree. Conflict is hard, right? And when we're in a space, particularly in workspaces and social settings, where we haven't nurtured those skills to have challenging conversations around things that we disagree on, it creates more anxiety. It creates more angst. It creates more trepidation about, should I say something? Should I not say something, right? And so I'm taking a moment to acknowledge that we are sitting in the middle of that space right now. And as professionals, as leaders, as business owners, we have a responsibility to start to nurture those skills and create environments and spaces where people can feel comfortable and feel safe in saying the things that they need to say in a respectful way and in a way that helps us maintain our mental clarity, that helps us be very clear about where we sit on issues and how we want to be proactive in advocating for whatever change is necessary, what laws that we need to address or accommodate in our industries or the things that we are responsible for in our sphere of influence. This is a time in the moment to start to have those challenging conversations, right? And so instead of being quiet and shutting down, we want to create a space that helps us to move the needle forward and know what our next best steps are as leaders, period. Like, we have a responsibility and we have to know, how are we going to move the needle forward? So as we're acknowledging that this is hard, and I'm validating and affirming that, it's still a space that we have to take responsibility and accountability for what happens next. And particularly as HR professionals, many of us are holding our breaths going into the office or logging onto Teams because we don't really know what's awaiting us or what situation we're going to be asked to provide guidance or feedback on, or give our expertise or interpret the law or get legal support. I mean, it's just hard. That's the reality. But, as I mentioned to you in episode 1, a part of who I am is a faith-based believer. And I believe that the scripture tells us in Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 and 7, to don't be anxious about anything, but by prayer and supplication, make our requests known unto God. And he's going to cause all of the things that we're dealing with, that we're facing, to work together for our good. And as I was actually studying and researching for this podcast, I came across this scripture in Philippians chapter 4 and 6 in the Message Bible. And one part that I just want to highlight, and if you're not a believer, you can just skip on past this part, but it'll still help you anyway. But it says to do that, and God, who makes everything work together, will work you into his most excellent harmonies. How perfect is that for this podcast? That God has a purpose for each and every one of our lives. He has a purpose even in things that we don't see and we can't acknowledge, and we don't know what the end result will be or why we're even dealing with certain things the way that we are. But he has a way of working them into his most excellent harmonies. And so we're going to stand on that. We're going to trust that, and we're going to believe that. But as we are preparing for how we can advocate, how we can move forward, how we can ensure that we remain solvent and that we are taking actionable steps to move things forward, I think there are 3 things that we can really focus on to help us do that. Right. So I want to center this conversation on some ways in which we can create positive and an enriching environment for ourselves and the organizations that we lead. I don't know if you guys are aware, but I did a blog post last year called Ally versus Anti. And this was on the heels of this polarizing conversation. We kind of knew this space was going to be coming. And I started to talk about, that in that blog about how to keep DEI alive in the midst of polarizing climate. I challenge us to find a spectrum of progress, because sometimes we feel like there's no room between being an ally and being anti-change. And there's lots of space that kind of fits within that spectrum for you to find what feels comfortable for you to find what works for your organization, for you to find what works for your career, right? And so this conversation today, and centering it really around 3 main things. The first is to stay focused. The second is to stay informed. And the third is to stay open. So when I say stay focused, this is a time to revisit your why. Why did you start the business? What are your core values? What are your strategic initiatives? What is it that your business or your career has been designed or purposed to do, right? And get clear on that. And there's no decision that is being made in your business or career that should deviate from those principles, no matter who's in office, right? So it's an opportunity for you to get clarity and get really clear on, this is why I'm here and this is what I am going to do. And in the midst of that space, in the midst of that time, in the midst of that clarity, then it will help you to stay focused on what you need to do next. The next thing that I would recommend is to stay informed. There's lots of things changing. We know that all of these executive orders have come out, particularly around affirmative action and DEI, and how we have to move, particularly if you're in organizations that have DEI programs. I'd say that the second thing that's really important is to stay informed. And that means to be aware of the changes that are happening, the policies that could impact or affect hiring, compliance, your benefits, what career options are available. For some of us, it means pivoting and going down a new path in the services that we're offering in our small businesses, or the career path that we've chosen to support businesses and individuals in, right? This is a moment where we have to be informed and to know what is ahead of us, at least for these next several years, right? And then I say partner with experts and industry associations to help you stay ahead of the political risk and to ensure you're getting good information. There's so much misinformation circulating on this good here internet, okay? So you want to make sure you're getting reputable information, tools that are vetted and that you feel secure in making decisions that are based upon. And then make sure, particularly, that your HR policies are aligned with this new legislation to ensure fairness and that you're not creating systems and processes that will flag you for audits. I'm not here to talk about, the OFCCP and the executive order on removing affirmative action and the DEI programs. And there's some really great tools and resources out there for you to really understand what that means. In fact, I could recommend one for you. Hey HR, if you're not following her on YouTube, you should follow her. That's Hey with 3 Y's HR, and she has an excellent video that breaks down the difference between affirmative action and DEI and what that executive order really means. But in this space, I think it's more important for us to elevate the conversation of how do we move the conversation forward? Like, how do we ensure that what we're doing is aligned with how we can have positive progress moving forward. All right. So that's staying focused, staying informed. And then the last thing I would recommend is to stay open. It's so easy to close ourselves off. It's so easy to become one-sided and narrow-minded when we feel attacked, when we feel that there's injustice, when we feel that there's a misunderstanding. But it's important in this particular climate to remain open. And what that means is that we need to foster a culture for open dialogue and give people the opportunity to respectfully have differing opinions. Because even though we may not agree, there's opportunities for us to find alignment and common ground. And if you're not open, if you're not willing to listen, if you're not willing to hear from the other side, then you can miss opportunities for collaboration. And I think that's really a really powerful moment when we see our nation, our country so divided that we can find more reasons for why we should be joined together than things that should keep us apart. So stay open. And I think that this is also an opportunity to consider offering trainings through your business or either attending trainings on respectful communication and workplace inclusivity. It's always been important. But now if there's an opportunity for you to make a statement in your business about where you stand on these issues, I think that offering opportunities and creating culture where people feel comfortable in speaking their truth and speaking the things that are important to them and the things that matter to them and the values that they stand on will allow your business to represent what's human. It represents how people feel, and it represents the fact that you are supportive of people being human and having their own viewpoints and their own ideas, and in the working environment, a place that they can feel safe in nurturing some of those things, right? So that's a part of staying open. I think leadership at all levels is so pivotal in this moment. And it's an opportunity, particularly for those who are at senior level leadership positions in organizations, to be very aware and conscious of what is happening. So be very clear. Indecision is a decision. When you choose to act as if nothing is happening, or we can just continue with the status quo, or we can just move right along and not address or not deal with or not say anything, even that position is a decision, right? So I think as leaders, I know that as leaders, it's really important that we are intentional about setting the pace and setting the standard around how our organizations are going to respond. This is a time for leadership to really consider innovation and agility, right? Sometimes when things are changing and things are adjusting and you don't necessarily have the full picture of what the impact is going to mean for your business, it's an opportunity for agility, right? It's an opportunity for you to adjust and adapt in a way that positions the business to continue to move forward. And this can be an opportunity to stretch skills for those leaders that are on the bench, that are emerging leaders that are coming forward in your organization. It's an opportunity to build on your own individual leadership skills. One of the things that I believe is pivotal in helping us to do that is to find one area, one particular skill that you can strengthen. Whether that is researching and getting clear on a particular issue that's happening and how you can communicate and articulate that in a business in a way that's meaningful for your team and what the impact and all of the things that are associated with that mean. You can research and become more knowledgeable about these things so that you can communicate it in a way that helps people understand and feel more comfortable and at ease about the decisions that are being made. And if this is an opportunity for you in your career and you do not own a business, this is definitely a time for you to build your skills, explore alternative career paths, be transparent at the highest levels of your organization. That's so important. You have to be transparent and allow people to know where you stand, to know what your position is and how you're going to move forward. I'm going to be participating in the Unplug conference in Atlanta, Georgia, the Unplug experience with LaShawn Davis. If you guys don't know about it, go to the website and find out about it. You should be there, purchase a ticket. That's just a little shameless plug. But I'm going to be doing a session on dualpreneurship. And it's talking about how you can effectively manage a career and start a business at the same time, and ensuring that you have the support of your organization to do so, right? So in times like this is the perfect opportunity to really be transparent about what you feel is next for you. If it's a space of transition and you know that there's something more that you want to do, it's an opportunity for you to clarify that with the individuals that you report to, and ensure that you have that support. And if you don't have that support, what you need to do to gain that support, right? So no is not no. No is just not right now. Okay. So we may have to continue to massage it, and we may have to continue to have conversations, and we may have to continue to be clear. But as an individual, you have the right to create additional streams of income for yourself and to ensure that you're doing it with integrity and that you are not compromising the work that you're doing in your corporate career. So in times like this is times for us to consider what could be next for us and how we can ensure that we are insulating our own career and our own decision making to support our purpose and to know that we are moving forward in the right direction. And then I would say to make sure that you're building strong professional networks. Make sure that your personal brand allows you access into spaces that can help you be agile when necessary. Sometimes you need additional support, and you need individuals who have already been in spaces and places that you're trying to get to, right? And when you have those strong networks, when you have those strong connections, it gives you the agility to make transitions and move in spaces that you may not have had the opportunity to do so without those connections. Again, besties, I know this is difficult. I know this is hard. And I think that particularly as people of color, we have to be very vigilant about how we're going to adjust and adapt as the times change, right? You've got to find ways to get active. You've got to find ways to let your voices be heard. You've got to find ways to advocate. Even if you find yourself in a space that you're not impacted, just get active. Get active. Find ways to get involved in the community to ensure that you are being a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. All right, besties. That's a wrap for today. It's with HR Love and Light that I am your HR bestie, reminding you to keep harmonizing by practicing these 3 Ps. What are the 3 Ps? Prioritizing you, protecting your peace, and pouring into your purpose. Before we go today, I want to remind you that Icon 25 is coming. We are so excited about Icon 25, and it's in Charleston, South Carolina, again this year on October 9th through the 11th. Early bird tickets are already on sale. You can go ahead and get your tickets now because we are planning just an extraordinary experience for you. This is our third year presenting Icon 25, and I'm so excited to share this space with you in October. So you can go to the website. It's www.theiconconference.com. It's also where you can learn all of the things that are happening that are Icon, and you can purchase your early bird tickets to meet us in the room on October 9th through 11th in Charleston, South Carolina for the Icon experience. Thank you again for taking the time to listen to Let's Harmonize podcast. If you've enjoyed this podcast, this episode, and you're listening via Spotify or even Apple Podcasts, can you give us a review and help us to advance and to move this podcast forward and give more visibility so that others will download and subscribe? If you haven't hit that button to subscribe, please do so. If you have ideas or things that you want to hear me talk about, feel free to shoot me a DM. Let me know. Follow us on all of our social channels. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, and we're on TikTok. If you want a little kiki, a little laugh, a little humor, sprinkled with some HR inspiration, then follow us over on TikTok. And we will see you again in the next episode. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. Thanks for joining this episode of Let's Harmonize. Don't forget to subscribe and comment below. Also, I'm looking forward to you following me on all of the social media platforms are listed below in the description. And until next time, remember, harmony is not a destination. It's a way of living and leading. Take care, bestie.